Hello again, wrestling fans, and welcome back to RWA, the evil that men do, emanating from Burlington, North Carolina. I'm Brandon Benefield alongside the great Gerard. Tonight, coming up, we've got a huge tag team match with some high stakes.
Indeed, the stakes are high. Let's take it to our ring announcer, Brett Wolverton.
The following contest, your main event of the evening, is tag team action scheduled for one fall with a 30-minute time limit. It is for the Revolution Wrestling Authority Heavyweight Championship and the WrestleForce Heavyweight Championship. If either champion is pinned by either of their tag team opponents, the title will change hands. Introducing first, weighing in at 240 pounds and from Burlington Springs, North Carolina, the blue chipper, Chase Emery. His tag team partner, 285 pounds, from Macon, South Carolina, currently ranked number 5 in UFC's Power Slam, Cooper, the House, Housley.
As you know, Shannon Moore was supposed to be here tonight to face Fodder for the RWA Heavyweight Championship, but due to some travel issues, could not make it. That match has been rescheduled for Starrcade 6 coming up in December. But the question is, will Fodder still be champion at that time? Because there's some interesting stakes on the line here tonight, GB.
Very interesting stakes. This is the epitome of card subject to change. And that's what could happen here. And you could make the argument that what it is changed to perhaps is more dangerous than what the original plan was for Fodder. And now we've got 2 championships on the line, 2 big opportunities, and let's find out who the champs are.
And their opponents, accompanied to the ring by Angelina Love. First, weighing in at 237 pounds and hailing from Columbia, South Carolina, he is the WrestleForce Heavyweight Champion, the Southern Savior, John Skyler. His tag team partner, 239 pounds, the Revolution Wrestling Authority Heavyweight Champion, Psycho Boy Fodder. One fall, 30 minutes for the RWA and WrestleForce Heavyweight Championships.
Well, you heard Wolverton there, 30-minute time limit, 1 fall to a finish, and it's for both the RWA Heavyweight Championship and the WrestleForce Heavyweight Championship. No, your eyes are not deceiving you, folks. Your ears are not deceiving you. Yes, both titles are on the line in this very interesting tag team matchup.
Unique stakes for sure. You're talking about a tag team match with 2 singles championships on the line. And here's what's wild to me. Fodder was so confident in his ability to beat this tag team that he brought in his partner, John Skyler, and said, you know what? We'll put both championships on the line. And I've got to wonder already, did Fodder make a mistake with making this stipulation?
He very well may have, because these guys aren't any pushovers. We're talking about Cooper, the House, Housley. We're talking about Chase Emery, the blue chipper. Both of these guys, great competitors in their own right here tonight, and what a huge opportunity for both of them.
Massive opportunity for both of these opponents here. And I'll tell you this, I think if Fodder was teaming with his longtime partner Skyler and they were fighting 2 random guys, this would make sense. But they're fighting 2 guys who at any given point in time can defeat them and walk away with both championships.
And of course, as per usual, both Skyler and Fodder drawn to the crowd. The crowd really letting these guys have it here before the match begins.
Yeah, I'm so intrigued again by the level of confidence that Skyler and Fodder have in this scenario, considering there is some very interesting history between Skyler and the gentleman in the ring right now, Chase Emery. Here's what's wild. Now, granted, Chase Emery, trained by the great Arn Anderson, so throw your 4s up for the Horsemen, along with Lodi. But here's what's really interesting about Chase Emery. Chase Emery held the WrestleForce Tag Team Championships with the man standing across the ring from him right now, John Skyler. So if there's anybody you would not want to put your championship on the line against, it's that man. Plus, you look at the fact that Emery is a 2-time WrestleForce champion. He knows a whole lot about that title that currently is held by John Skyler. So if I'm Skyler, I don't know if I'd feel some kind of way with Fodder with my championship going on the line against somebody who knows how it is to be the WrestleForce champion.
Well, here we go. It's going to be Emery and, well, I thought I was about to say, and Skyler, but Skyler playing a little head games here early on and goes ahead and tags in the RWA champ, Psycho Boy Fodder.
So you've got to ask the question, how does this knowledge that Skyler has of both Emery and Fodder work on behalf of the current champions?
Well, you know, I got to tell you, you think it would come into advantage for Skyler. Skyler knowing both of these guys very well, especially Chase Emery, but at the same time, you got to think Chase Emery knows Skyler very well, having tagged with him and been a champion in WrestleForce.
For sure, and Emery's got to be able to pass that knowledge off to his tag team partner, the House, Cooper Housley, and this is creating, I think, a very dangerous situation for the champions to retain, and I don't like their chances right now.
When here's Skyler's wanting Emery to tag in Housley, and Emery will oblige. So here comes the House, and now we're going to see Cooper Housley and John Skyler, or maybe not.
Maybe not.
I don't know if we're ever going to get a lockup in this one, GB.
That's a great point. And again, this is where the tag team continuity of Skyler and Fodder come into play. They've worked together several times, and they both have an equal amount on the line as both of their individual championships are up for grab. But now we see, again, the kind of tag team in and out moments happening on the other side.
When I wonder, was Fodder wanting to fight Emery instead? Oh, we are getting a lockup here. Well, so we're finally getting a lockup between Psycho Boy Fodder and Chase Emery.
And this is literally 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Do you want to fight the guy who has held tag team championship gold and singles championship gold, or the guy who could literally slap you into next week?
Absolutely. Housley out on the ring apron. Ranked number 5 in the world in UFC Power Slap.
I'm going to tell you something. I've been on TikTok watching this guy, Housley. I do not want to be on the other side of the ring with him. I saw him with one slap literally knock someone's lights out. And that could happen to Fodder here. And if it happens to Fodder, or if it happens to Skyler, we're getting new champions tonight.
But right now, the Psycho Boy with the advantage. A side headlock applied to Emery, but not so fast. Emery going to counter out and into a side headlock of his own on Fodder.
And so you got to think about this again. Coming into tonight, you know, Fodder had plans on a one-on-one contest against Shannon Moore. Now he's in a tag team match, again, with both championships on the line. But let's talk about the opponents here. Let's talk about Chase Emery. Let's talk about the House. Housley, are those guys prepared for the opportunity that lies ahead of them right now?
Well, you know, I guess they just, well, first of all, are they calling timeout on the outside here?
Now, here's the thing. You know good and well these champions know that they can't call timeout. But you know what? The more they try it, perhaps one time it'll work.
Maybe, maybe not. But to your point, you know, these two guys, Housley and Emery, stepping in here at last minute, and you ask, are they prepared? Whether they're prepared or not, it's a huge opportunity. So at least they're here, they're jumping at this opportunity, and we could be seeing 2 new champions here before the night's over.
You know, that's one of the most amazing things about opportunity. Opportunity doesn't always come in a beautiful gift package. It's not something that you're always specifically training for. Sometimes it just happens when you're in the right place at the right time, and this could be the night for new champions to be crowned because Housley and Emery were in the right place at the right time.
And now you see Skyler trying to shake hands with his former tag team partner, Chase Emery, but let me just go ahead and say, I don't think that Skyler really wants to shake hands here. I think he's trying to sucker him in. And to my point there, he kicks him right in the midsection. And I think Emery knew what was going to happen, but he just took too long to react.
He did take too long to react, and that could become problematic as now Fodder gets tagged into the ring, and things could get very, very dangerous for Emery.
Emery able to duck a double clothesline attempt into a go behind, and a little friendly fire there as he shoves Fodder into Skyler. Now both guys out on the floor one more time. And look at Psycho Girl calling timeout again.
Here's an interesting question for you. Whoever from the challengers, oh wait, what did
is Skyler ringing the bell?
That's what it sounded like he did.
All right, Wolverton, get some control over there at the timekeeper's table.
Because Skyler just can't ring the bell and cause the end of the match. That's not how this works around here. As he continues to attempt to call timeout, well, while he's calling timeout, I want to ask you this. Chase Emery, who has held the WrestleForce Championship, he's held the WrestleForce Tag Team Championship. Do you think he has a preference in terms of which championship he could potentially win here tonight?
You know, I don't know if he does or not, but you bring up a good point, GB. Now, the way this is going to work is depending on which person they pin, that will be the title that they get. So For instance, if Emery were to pin Fodder, he would leave with the RWA heavyweight title. If he pinned Skyler, he would leave with the WrestleForce title, and vice versa if Housley were to pin one or the other. So it's a very interesting stipulation that I got to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen before.
It is extremely interesting. It also makes you ask the question, does Emery or Housley want a championship more than the other does? I think at this point, any goal that they get or any win that they get would be a massive, massive feather in their cap.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right there, GB. And now Fodder finally back in the ring. Emery in the ring. Are we finally going to see some in-ring action?
Well, here's the thing. You and I both know we've been around Fodder long enough to know that Fodder masters in these head games. He masters in trying to change the momentum of his opponent to be able to throw them off of their game while he locks in and does exactly what it is that he looks to do.
Looking for a test of strength, but not so fast. He goes for the kick to the midsection, trying to take the shortcut, but this time Emery saw it coming and caught the boot.
He certainly does, and now Emery, nicely done there on Fodder.
Mat return, and now a front face lock from Emery.
And think about how crazy it would be. We've seen how long it took for Fodder to become the RWA heavyweight champion. How nuts would it be for him to lose that title in a tag team situation?
That would be absolutely insane as Housley makes his way in, and now some tag team work on Fodder. Fodder, pin attempt here for Housley.
Whoa.
Just as you mentioned, how would it be if Fodder lost his RWA title? He almost did right there, GB.
He certainly did, and we know that there is a close relationship between the UFC and pro wrestling. How neat would it be for Housley to be amongst the small handful of wrestlers who have fought in both the UFC and won championship gold in the world of pro wrestling?
That would be something else for sure. And now Emery makes his way back in, up to the second turnbuckle, down with the elbow right across the arm of Psycho Boy Fodder.
And the Psycho Boy is in trouble right now. Big slam there coming from Chase Emery, and this is almost a... Whoa. We almost had a new champion.
Almost had an RWA heavyweight champ. And then in turn, if that were the case, Housley would have gotten the WrestleForce championship. Such a crazy stipulation. I know I keep saying it, but it's just that crazy.
It is almost unfathomable, and again, it speaks to the either level of craziness or confidence you choose that Fodder had to have, and now we're seeing the other half of the Psycho Love team go to work, and this is where perhaps the confidence level came in from Psycho Boy Fodder.
Yeah, you saw the Psycho Girl grabbing the leg of Emery, and with the ref distracted by Fodder, John Skyler took advantage, and now Fodder with the clear advantage here in this matchup.
And perhaps the one thing we did not think about in terms of the level of confidence that the champions have is that they do outnumber the challenger with, of course, on the outside, Angelina Love being that determining factor.
Skyler calling for Fodder to put the boot up for him, and face first into the boot goes Chase Emery, who desperately needs to make a tag.
Indeed he does, and you know, we're talking about all of this. One of the things that we did not talk about is the kind of experience that the House would have. Cooper Housley, of course, as you mentioned earlier, number 5 in the UFC Power Slap Heavyweight division, which is incredible. So you want to stay away from his slap, but what else can Cooper Housley do? That's going to be a real question in this matchup.
Well, he's definitely got a size advantage if he could just get in the ring, and you see Emery trying his best to make it to his corner, but you see Skyler there with that front face lock not allowing him to make it to his corner, and then a cheap shot from Skyler to Housley on the outside.
And I think that is wise tag team maneuvering and tag team strategy there coming from the champions, Skyler and Fodder. You know you do not want the House in that ring because with one slap, he changes the entire trajectory of this matchup.
Now Fodder tagged back in, snapmare to Emery. Classic series of moves here, snaps the neck back, does Fodder. Oh, and an elbow right to the throat from Skyler for good measure.
And we're seeing Fodder and Skyler do what they do best. They're not trying anything new. They're sticking with what brought them to the dance. It is those power moves. It is your basic kicks and punches. It was enough to win them championships. Could it be enough to help them retain tonight?
And this great crowd here in Burlington, North Carolina, they've been loud all night. They are all over the case of Fodder and Skyler.
And you know, that's kind of that's par for the course. Skyler and Fodder know that the crowd's going to be against them. They're not worried about that. And look at that. Look at the way that Fodder responds with a big elbow there to Chase Emery.
And now Skyler tags back in. Leg drop right across the throat one more time to Emery. his former tag team partner, but he kicks out at 2.
Skyler is all over Emery, and you think about all of the time that Emery has been a champion, 385 days as the WrestleForce champion, but that may not mean much, but Skyler's in trouble right now.
And Skyler inadvertently connecting there with Fodder, and Skyler might be out. He's trying to move his limbs here, trying to get a little feeling back in him.
And I almost thought snow angels were being formed right there by Skyler. But meanwhile, he may feel like that if Emery gets over to that corner and makes the tag to Housley.
And there Emery using his leg strength.
Tag into Fodder.
Yeah, Skyler back in the corner, but now Housley's back in as well. And a huge clothesline from the house.
And now you've got to wonder, if you are Fodder, at what point does that dangerous slap from Housley come into play?
And it's in here. Almost a new champion, almost new champions.
That's right. 2 new champions almost crowned again. It's amazing how powerful one pinfall can be in this scenario. Whoa.
Well, look out, Angelina Love with that psycho stick shot, but it got caught by Emery on the outside.
And Emery better be careful. Once again, Angelina Love is worth her weight in gold. Again, changing the direction of this matchup. But right now, Housley and Fodder, but Fodder escapes. I'm seeing some great wrestling here from Housley.
Standing switch by the house and a quick roll-up. Will this be enough?
Almost a new champion. Whoa.
And again, just a 2 count. Fodder, not sure where he is right now. Going to be scooped up here. And a huge power slam by the power slam ranked number 5, Housley.
And
almost another 3 count.
Let me tell you something. Housley will be that guy to go back to Vegas, to go to the Apex with a championship outside of the UFC. Oh boy, he's getting ready.
Here it comes.
It's the slap heard around the world.
Oh, but Skyler grabbing the boot of Housley on the outside, going to be brought up by his hair, and he got hung up on the top rope by Skyler.
Did what he had to do to save his partner and to save his championship.
Psycho slam and a hook of the leg.
And that's a psycho pin.
And Psycho Boy Fodder and Skyler retain their titles.
And still WrestleForce heavyweight champion, the Southern Savior John Skyler, and still Revolution Wrestling Authority heavyweight champion, Psycho Boy Fodder.
A heck of an effort here tonight by Emery and Housley, but in the end, the numbers game was just too much. The Psycho Girl out on the outside, causing some interference, and Fodder and Skyler retaining their titles.
Angelina Love once again makes the difference. We wondered indeed, how could this championship team be so confident? But the ace in the hole was, of course, Angelina Love, who allows Fodder and Skyler to retain their championships.
Well, fans, join us December 8th at the Southside Recreation Center in High Point for Starcade 6 as Fodder defends against Shannon Moore.